Richie.
Hi, Sen.
Hi, everyone. And welcome to episode 46 of What, Where, Why? Enemies of Bloodborne.
Woo!
Today, we're gonna talk about the Forsaken Castle Spirit. I forgot their name, and I'm reading it as if I'm seeing it for the first time.
Everyone... The names, it's one of those Fextra Life issues where they called them the Bound Widows at the start.
Right.
And everyone called them that, and it's like, it's not the name.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And this specific episode was recommended by Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean. So, Richie.
Yes.
What are the Forsaken Castle Spirits?
The Forsaken Castle Spirits are ghosts that inhabit Cainhurst. They're all women. They all look... There's two variants, but they both look the same. The difference is how they attack you. So they are a very tall, slender, aristocratic woman in a very nice sort of gown. They're, as ghosts, they are semi-transparent. They sort of glide around. And you can hear them weeping before they attack you. You can hear this sort of sobbing. And if you look at them closely, you can see that they're all blindfolded. And there are two variants. One variant has a knife that they try to stab you with, similar to the ghosts in the Chalice dungeons. And the other variant has been decapitated, and she's actually holding her head in her hands. And the version that has the knife, they haven't been decapitated, but you can see that they have had their throats slit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure if that is their throat has been slit or they were actually decapitated and they just put their head back on somehow.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, in the game, are they transparent?
Yes.
Because I have a picture here on Bloodborne-Wiki where they're not transparent. What is that?
Well, no, that's what the model looks like. Like if you were to extract the model from the game.
Okay.
But in the actual game, it's rendered as though they're see-through.
Okay,
You can also see
there
that they've got their hands are bound together as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're carrying this sort of curved dagger.
Yeah.
That's very similar to... It's not the same, but it's like if you look at who carries daggers around like that, it's the Bell Maidens carry the dagger.
Yeah.
Queen Yharnam carries the dagger.
Yeah.
The ghosts in the Chalice dungeons also have a dagger.
Right.
So there's
and
like continuity
go
of who's got the dagger, of these like sacred women who carry this dagger thing around.
Yeah. And we actually recorded a few podcasts on Cainhurst as well as on Temerians, so we won't go into the detail about the relationship between, Cainhurst and Thumeru and Healing Church and all that. But these ghost ladies specifically, were they women who lived in the castle? Were they aristocratic women that lived around there?
If you look at the portraits in the dining hall, there are portraits of women who are wearing the same dress. So I think it's just meant to be that these were the aristocracy of Cainhurst who were killed by the executioners.
So the aristocracy, where did they live in Cainhurst?
They lived in Cainhurst.
No, but because when we get there, there's just one castle.
Yeah, I think you have to assume that the part of Cainhurst we explore is just the inner courtyard, and then there's a whole lot of other buildings we don't go to.
Okay.
Like the big entrance hall that you start in, there's if you look at it from outside, there's another building attached to it that we never go into. So they could just live there. We don't know.
Thank you. And where are these ghost ladies?
There's two, we'll call them clusters of ghosts.
Yeah.
The first lot are in the entrance hall. And they are initially non-hostile, and they're all standing over dead presumably dead Cainhurst people, because they have like Cainhurst gear on them, and
Mm-hmm.
they're weeping. So presumably what happened is like those are the knights of Cainhurst who were killed by the executioners, and then the
Right.
ghosts are sort of coming back to weep over them.
Mm-hmm.
And these ones are non-hostile until you take one of the items. And if you take one of the items, that's what triggers them to go hostile. So they're actually just like protecting the castle. They only care if you interfere with the corpses of the people they're weeping over.
Okay.
But then when you go upstairs, there's another set of them in the dining hall. And these ones go hostile when you walk, I think it's like halfway into the room, they suddenly go hostile. They're
Mm-hmm.
not weeping over any corpses, and I think they may have been. There's not that many corpses in that area, and I think they may have been like actually in the dining hall when they were killed or something like that. They're like stuck in the place
Mm-hmm.
they died. So that's like the first cluster. And then the
Mm-hmm.
second cluster is in the library areas, which there are two. Like, I mean, it's one building, but you visit like two different parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of them just sort of gliding around, and they also initially they don't really notice you until you get hit by the dart thing that gives you the corruption rune. And when
Mm-hmm.
that happens, they all suddenly scream and start making a beeline for you. There's a lot of them.
Okay.
And then the second part of that is there's another chunk of them in the other part of the library, and that's where you run into the ones that have the severed head.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's only like I think there might only be three or four ones that have the severed head, and they behave differently. Where the severed head one will, the severed head ones never actually directly attack you; they just scream. And
Mm-hmm.
when they scream, that paralyzes you, and it's actually the same paralysis attack that Queen Yarnum uses.
Mm-hmm.
And when that gets you, you the other ones will it paralyzes you, and then when you're paralyzed, the other ones will head for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, there's a chunk in the entrance, and then a chunk of them in the library.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And why are the ghost ladies?
Well, they're presumably the spirits of the women of Cainhurst who were killed by the executioners.
And do you think there was some sort of party or gathering that the executioners crashed?
Yeah, I think that's definitely what was happening.
Richie, I just had a vision.
Go on.
Do you notice how all the ghost women are wearing the same dress?
I think I know where this is going.
Do you know how there's a stereotype that, like, women don't like to show up in the same dress into an
Yeah,
event?
yeah.
What if
Hmm.
the executioners
Hmm.
didn't kill the ladies? What if
I
they
thought you
all
were going
showed
to say,
up?
what if the executioners showed up in those dresses?
My God. You know what? I was gonna say, what if all the ladies showed up in those dresses and got mad and killed each other? But no, you're right. The executioners were invited to the party too, and they showed up wearing the same dresses as the ladies. And the
Yeah.
executioners were like, "No, that's not happening. Somebody's gotta go home and change." And the ladies were like, "We'll live here. We're in Cainhurst. We're not changing." And then there
Yeah.
was like you know, a what do you call it? There was like a fight, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what happened.
Yeah. So the other thing we should talk about is like the method of execution,
Okay, let's talk about that.
because this is a thing that like we were initially confused about, and I think it's still like it just isn't explained properly. But the executioners themselves, the weapons they have are the wheel.
Right.
And the idea behind the wheel is that it's useful for killing immortal things, because you can't actually kill them. So you're like Alfred, you just grind them into a pulp. So they're not actually dead; they're just like a pile of flesh that can't do anything. And
Right.
the castle spirits, they look like they've been beheaded. Obviously, like it looks like a very standard execution scene where they've had their hands bound and they're blindfolded, and they've been like, I guess, like either guillotined or had their head cut off just with an edged weapon. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be the deal with Ligarius's scythe. Because Ligarius's scythe, it
Right.
spits out the same the blood spirits that the gloves do. So if
Yes.
you imagine, like, it's probably coated in blood because he was maybe like systematically beheading every single person from Cainhurst.
Yeah.
Also, notably, like, it's only women. So I think the idea is they were trying to find like okay, it was either they were trying to find the woman who was giving birth to the child, or
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's like the other Thumerian places where it's matriarchal, so there may just not have been male nobility.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because we don't really see the closest thing we see to like a noble male is like there's like a young sort of prince looking figure,
Yes.
and there's some knights, and then there's Lawrence, but you don't see like an older the older aristocratic looking characters are all women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Like, I found it very sad after I thought about lore for a while and talked about it too. Basically, Cainhurst are just chilling. Have you met their queen? They're chill. They don't care.
mm,
And here comes the executioner, break into their party, behead everybody, just kill everyone, lock her. It's just so sad.
yeah,
That's not nice at all.
yeah. That's why I have a vile blood tote bag to show my allegiances as I'm
Yay.
buying groceries.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I still love Queen Annalise because after all that, you come, you find her, she's like, sup.
yeah. She's kind of she's chill, but she's also just kind of over it.
She's like, I'm over all this drama, all their Twitter fighting, all their Facebook posts. I'm good here in my room,
She is
chill here with my
remarkably chill because she's
statues.
been trapped on her own in a throne room
It's
for God
because,
knows how long, and then you meet her and she's just like, ah, visitor, kneel.
yes, I love her so much. She's amazing. She's the one that truly ascended.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's the only truly. She's the glowing Thumerian of the Castle Cainhurst people, basically. She's
yeah,
the pilgrim. So after you become pilgrim, the next step is slug, and after slug, it's Queen Annalise.
yeah. I'd love that. Yeah,
No, she's chill.
yeah. Just got to get out of my pupil stage. Become Queen Annalise.
Yes, true ascension. Okay, I guess that's it. Is there
Yeah. I mean,
anything
there's
else?
other like little random things we could talk about with them.
Like what?
Like, I was saying initially, they're non-hostile,
Mm-hmm.
and when they're non-hostile, they're even more transparent. And when they're
Mm-hmm.
in that state, you actually can't damage them with a regular weapon.
All right.
So that's one of the reasons we talked about this before with the righteous bonus.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah. So some weapons do innate arcane damage, like the burial blade and the moonlight sword and stuff. So those will still be able to. And Ligarius's wheel's the obvious one because that has that transformed mode with like the red and black aura around it. That will still be
Mm-hmm.
able to hurt them when they're incorporeal. But otherwise, if you
Mm-hmm.
just have a standard physical damage weapon, you have to wait for them to kind of get a bit. They're still transparent, but you have to wait for them to fade in a bit more before you can hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Richie.
yeah. All right, Sin, do the outro.
Do do do. Oh no, that's not that song. This is the other song.
Jesus Christ.